Britain is in the grip of an asthma epidemic. It affects over 5 million people, 20% of whom are children. It's a killer. Each year, 1,400 people die from asthma attacks, and there are over 69,000 hospital admissions. That's one every 8 minutes.
I've actually said to myself, I've got a disabled child here.
Just imagine not being able to take a breath when you need to.
The fear is that, she might not survive.
Tonight on Dispatches, can a simple but ingenious experiment provide the solution?
If someone said to me, right, Helen, you need to do this, you need to do that in your home and it will make Dominic better, God, I would do it within seconds.
Meet 10 kids. They all suffer from asthma. Like most asthmatics in Britain, their illness is treated with drugs. But this narrow approach just isn't working. So these kids are taking part in a unique medical experiment.
So when did the asthma start?
We're not tackling the symptoms of asthma with some new wonder drug. Instead, we'll employ a range of simple and affordable techniques to help reduce our kids' exposure to the irritants that trigger asthma. It's called Allergen Avoidance. We'll evict their family pets
I'm gonna get upset now.
and give their homes a complete makeover. Then for 9 weeks, a period agreed by our experts, kids and parents must keep their homes as allergen-free as possible. All under the beady eye of asthma nurse Maureen Jenkins.
Neither of you are taking this seriously.
Don't forget, I've got 3 kids. I'm working day and night.
I just feel that you're down on me and I don't really appreciate it.
If I said never mind, it doesn't matter, then you wouldn't bother at all.
It's going to be tough.
For the next 9 weeks, it's not going to be easy, but I'll give it my best shot.
It's going to be hard and it's going to be tough. Only time will tell how well we've done.
It's hard work, but it's not, it's harder work to be sat in that casualty, worried, sick about your child.
It's day 1 of the asthma experiment, and it all starts here for our 10 kids at the Royal National Throat, Nose and Ear Hospital. Britain has the highest rate of asthma in the world, but although allergies are a key trigger for 80% of asthmatics, this is one of only 8 specialist allergy clinics in the UK. Most kids with asthma never get examined by allergy experts.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for coming along. Hello, Mum. Nice to meet you. Come and sit yourselves down.
Step 1 in the experiment. The children's height and weight are measured.
Right, it's 152.5.
Children with asthma are often shorter and lighter than average.
1, 3.
Take Jessie, for example.
If you'd like to follow me, we're just going to get Lorella to do your weight and your height.
Although she's 10, she's the weight of an average 8-year-old. Jessie lives here in Islington with her brother and sister and mum Kelly. She's been having asthma attacks since she was 4.
It's like you're stuck in one place and you can't do anything about it because you haven't got the strength to. And you can't move or shout because you can't breathe.
Jessie's problems get worse when she goes to bed. Like many children with asthma, she rarely gets a good night's sleep, and that's why she's below average size. Most growth takes place at night.
Jessie's just woke me up, wheezing, and it's so scary. Not being able to breathe. Just imagine not being able to take a breath when you need to. I love my kid so much and she just never complains.
No heart. Oh, okay, not bad.
The children are having their lung function tested.
That's at 0, but when you blow, it will move up here and we'll see what you get.
During the experiment, Their lung capacity or peak flow will be measured daily.
Okay, so big breath in. Oh, good boy.
When asthma is badly managed, children have a low and erratic peak flow. If the experiment is successful, this should stabilise and improve.
And blow hard.
Meet Rakim. His peak flow fluctuates wildly, from 30 to 60% of the capacity of a similar-sized healthy child.
Good boy.
Rakim's 10. He lives here in Muswell Hill, North London, with his mum Vanessa.
Okay.
His asthma is so bad that he is regularly hospitalised and put on a nebuliser.
That's it.
This gives him a powerful dose of salbutamol, the drug most commonly used to alleviate the symptoms of asthma.
It's difficult to breathe because the wheeziness is like kind of taking over and your chest feels like clogged up with like gunk.
At home, like most asthmatics, Rakim uses a salbutamol inhaler.
It's just like he's been held to ransom by this little blue thing. I want Rakim to be like dependent for the rest of his days on inhalers. It's just too much.
In total, 38 million inhalers are prescribed every year in the UK, costing the taxpayer a whopping £660 million. Asthma drugs now account for 8.5% of all NHS prescription costs. And there's another problem. Typically, kids use their puffers on demand, and there's no system to monitor the dosage. Studies show that overuse can cause side effects including muscle cramps and heart palpitations, and can actually increase the frequency of attacks.
Doctors usually say to him, take it light, 2 puffs like at least 4 times a day, but he regularly exceeds that. He always goes over.
In the fortnight before the experiment started, Rakim took over 200 puffs. That's double the recommended maximum safe dose.
He has kind of used it a lot, especially with sporting activities. Recently, for example, he did a basketball tournament and he used half the can of inhaler. Now that is just...
It's a common concern for the parents.
Does the amount of medication I take worry you at all?
Yeah, it really worries me.
Why does it worry you?
Because I feel that you're too dependent on it. Obviously, sometimes you have to be, but I'm just hoping that one day you'll grow out of it.
Just take this.
Basically, they just hand you the inhalers and they just take your peak flow, really. And if your peak flow's low, they just suggest you take your inhalers more often.
During the experiment, the children's use of their inhaler will be measured daily.
Okay, we're going for a bit of a walk now.
If the experiment is successful, puffer usage should go down. Overseeing the experiment is Dr. Glenys Scadding, a world-renowned expert in allergy and respiratory tract disorders.
As well as treating asthma with drugs, I'm a firm believer in finding out the major triggers for each child's asthma and trying to eliminate them from their environment so they need less medication and are better.
Her first task is to take a medical history of each volunteer. First up is Dominic.
I'd like to ask you a bit about your asthma, Dominic. All right. What does having asthma mean to you?
Well, it's kind of annoying because I can't do all the things that I like.
And do you keep your bedroom really clean and tidy and neat?
Now be honest, please.
No.
10-year-old Dominic lives here in Waltham Cross, Hertfordshire, with single mum Helen. He's had asthma ever since he can remember.
My mum says that I sound like a man that has every day of his life smoked 40 fags a day.
When I have an asthma attack here, I feel like somebody's grabbed me by the neck here and it's stopping me from breathing properly, yeah. And like, it feels like the person just won't let go until I actually use my inhaler.
As you can see, I'm need my inhaler.
The effect it has on me, I get stressed out because I'm thinking, am I doing enough for my son?
That feels really horrible, you know.
You know, and I feel quite sorry for him. It makes him feel uncomfortable. It doesn't make him feel good. And he's also getting moaned at for making horrible noises. I mean, it's not going to do his self-esteem any good, is it?
Dr. Scadding wants to know about any potential allergens in Dominic's home.
No, well done. Do you have any animals of any kind now?
I have a cat.
And does the cat get into your bedroom?
Sometimes I find her under my bed and sometimes she's on my bed.
Okay.
Not all the time, no.
Not all
She's
the time.
mainly in my room.
Okay.
My approach to treating asthma is not simply to treat the symptoms with medication, but to look for the underlying cause and try and eliminate that as far as possible. It's not rocket science. It can be quite simple to work out what's triggering asthma. And by eliminating the causes, one can have much happier, healthier children on less medication.
For years, it's been known that asthma is often triggered by pesky little creatures called house dust mites. Mites prefer warm, moist surroundings. They live happily in carpets, upholstery, and cuddly toys. But most of all, they thrive in our bed. Here they feed on human skin flakes and sweat. But it's not the house dust mites that trigger asthma. It's their droppings. Up to 85% of asthmatics are allergic to house dust mite, but they're commonly also affected by other household allergens like mould, pet hair, and dust.
Shall I video all of it? With my nose and all that? If you look at my eye... Oh.
Dominic is recording a classic allergic reaction. The same triggers that cause his asthma are also irritating his entire respiratory system, including his nasal passage.
That's what I'm like most mornings, and it feels really horrible. My nose is blocked, itching, my eyes are hurting, they're proper itching and all that. Oh, my chest's getting a bit... Ooh. It's getting a bit heavy to breathe.
Helen suspected that allergens were the cause of Dominic's problems.
You've got food there, look. I had the cat first, and then we got the dog. But then I thought his asthma seemed to be getting worse, you know, and there was like starting to have layers of dog hair everywhere. And in the end, I let the dog go, and I felt awful because he'd been already abandoned once. And I was so tearful when I had to let him go.
Back at the clinic, the next stage in our asthma experiment, the scientific way to find out which allergens trigger your asthma. It's called a skin prick test.
We're testing inhaled allergens. By that I mean things that are in our environment or in our own home. So those things there are in these bottles here. And what I'd like to do is to drop these onto this arm, okay? And then I will need to just prick your skin with a small pin, okay? But we'll chat away.
First, could I see the needles? I've got a phobia about needles.
You can, if you want to. You can indeed. It has a really long handle for me to hold, and then the actual pin is really tiny, okay? Because I'm going to use this arm, can I swap seats? Can we change our furniture around?
In all, the volunteers will be tested for reactions to 10 different household allergens, including various pollens, household pets, different moulds, and house dust mite.
So it's the allergens the cats and dogs carry on the hairs of their skin. What's this one?
Grass
Number 6. Grass pollen, that's it. You can hold Mummy's hand while I do this if you want to. All right, Dominic. So are you going back to school today? So which team do you support?
Arsenal.
Oh. So how's
Well, that one
Arsenal?
hurt,
How's
didn't it?
Arsenal doing at the moment?
They're
Where are they in the
very
league?
good. Since Vieira...
That's it,
that one
sweetie.
hurt.
It's done. It's done. It's all done now. That's it. That's it.
After the samples of allergens are pricked into the skin, all that remains is for the volunteers to wait and see which produce a reaction.
All you can do is blow on it. You can blow on it to cool it down, okay? But don't scratch it.
20 years ago, skin prick tests were standard practice for kids with asthma. Today, with the focus of UK asthma policy on drugs, skin prick tests are available in only 4% of GP surgeries. Like many parents, Helen asked a GP for a skin prick test.
Hang on, don't do that while they're... He said to me, no, we don't do allergy testing. You'll probably find that once he's been allergy tested that he'll come up with other allergies and it's not really worth doing.
Because we've been asking for these tests for years really at our own doctor's surgery, and we've always been told that there'd be no point.
I think it's a scandal that children don't have access to skin prick testing in this country. They should all be given the benefit of skin prick testing. It is a cheap, quick, safe technique, and you then have a very adequate diagnosis of many of the major asthma triggers, and you can do something about them.
20 minutes after his skin prick test, and Dominic's reactions are ready to be assessed by Dr. Scadding. She's convinced that allergy testing is a vital weapon in the war on asthma.
Shine the light on your arm, and you can see we've got some beautiful reactions here. We've got house dust mite. He's got a positive to grass pollen, which goes with the fact that he's got hay fever.
Is that the one where it's really come up really bad?
Yeah, that's grass pollen. Yeah. And there's also a positive reaction to cat, suggesting that the cat may be
But he's not allergic to the dog.
Symptoms. Hasn't actually come up significantly to dog.
We got rid of the dog for no reason.
Did the dog bother you?
We thought it was the dog.
We got rid of.
I had the cat before. I had the dog.
Oh, I see.
I love that dog.
Then he liked the dog and I liked the cat.
Right.
You should have got rid of the cat.
Over the course of the day, all 10 children are tested for common airborne allergens.
Tell me their names.
Oh, those, Rakim, are beautiful. They're about 10 minutes old, are they?
The last patient to see Dr. Scadding is 10-year-old Katie.
Okay, Katie, if you'd like to come through.
As well as asthma, Katie suffers from eczema, a related condition also triggered by allergens.
And maybe it looks sore, doesn't it? Can I have a look at your back? See whether we've got any evidence of house dust mite allergy here?
Because of the eczema on her arms, Katie's skin prick tests are on her back.
Here we have the house dust mite. A really beautiful wheel. And you can see the swelling there. You see that? When Katie breathes in house dust mites, that swelling will happen in her breathing tubes, probably in her nose and in her lungs, and that'll make her breathing worse. And I would very much like to see what happens if we do something really very effective against house dust mites in your house.
It's quite simple, really, isn't it?
Yes, well, it's simple to try.
Yeah.
So what are the children allergic to? The results revealed a range of allergies to common airborne particles, from pollen to mould and cat fur. But the most common allergy was to the house dust mite. All 10 children taking part in the experiment reacted to it. Now at last, the parents know the main triggers for their kids' asthma. It's been a revelation.
So I just think it's fantastic. Now I know. If you know what your child is allergic to, then you can sort it out, can't you? You can avoid those things. If you don't, how you know, they go along thinking that's how they're supposed to feel, when it's not.
I think this test basically just throws a whole new dimension on things now. And I think, it's sort of like hit home to me now, like a sledgehammer sort of thing.
It amazes me because it's so simple and it's so straightforward. I just think I don't understand. It makes me wonder about the system.
After the break, the kids' homes get the once-over from Nurse Maureen.
God, if she finds anything really disgusting, I'm just going to be mortified.
Poor kid, he hasn't got a chance, has he?
And we wage war on allergens.
It is really hard because you don't think everyday things like clothes and blankets are going to be a health hazard.
It's a week since the asthma experiment began, and the children were tested for allergies at the Royal National Throat, Nose and Ear Hospital.
So you've come up, this is the house dust mite ones.
Oh my
Beauties.
gosh.
Now, Dr. Scadding has teamed up with Maureen Jenkins.
I think it's got to be a multi-factor intervention, hasn't it?
She's a specialist asthma nurse of some 20 years' experience and a trustee of Allergy UK, Britain's leading allergy charity. Britain's failure to adequately educate the public about allergen reduction is a professional bugbear.
It makes me quite angry because these are all parents who care for their children and want to do the best for them. They are willing to do anything that's going to make it better, and they have no knowledge, it seems, that the state of their houses are actually making the condition worse.
Previous allergen avoidance experiments have failed because they focused on individual allergens. What's unique about this experiment is that we're tackling all the household allergens that trigger the children's asthma. Now that they have discovered what they're allergic to, our 10 children await Maureen's verdict on what needs to be done. Top of her hit list are Helen and her son Dominic.
Dominic, it's 7:30.
Like all the children in the experiment, Dominic rarely gets a good night's sleep.
How are you?
Okay.
You sound a bit bunged up.
Yeah, I'm really bunged up.
And when he wakes up, it only gets worse.
Hello?
Dominic also has rhinitis, a condition triggered by the same allergens as asthma. It irritates the lining of the nose in much the same way that asthma affects the lungs.
Don't wipe your nose in my towels.
There's something in his house that's poisoning him.
Don't spit all over me. Oh! You're disgusting.
How I feel is pissed off, really, because I don't want him coughing and spluttering every bloody morning.
It's just like really annoying with my asthma and all that. I just hate it. It's annoying. It's out of order. Why do I have to have asthma?
Hello.
Nurse Maureen is on the hunt for evidence of feathers, mould and household pets. But public enemy number one is the house dust mite. They evolved in birds' nests and today thrive in warm, moist conditions like our homes. With their central heating and soft furnishings, they're a mite's paradise.
It's hot in here. Very hot. And no air. There's no air in here. Anyway.
I don't like criticism, but obviously I'm going to take on board what she says. But women are very, quite attached to their homes, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? And, God, if she finds anything really disgusting, I'm just going to be mortified.
And there's this rug. This is a major problem because all the dust, every time Dominic's in bed and moves, the dust mite allergen falls out of the mattress onto this rug. And then when he's up and moving about, that becomes airborne. There's a cat. He has got a cat. And it's upstairs, so no doubt it comes in here. Poor kid, he hasn't got a chance, has he?
It's time to deliver some home truths.
Right, Helen, so this is the verdict.
Oh, I'm really dreading it. Really
I thought you
dreading
might
it.
be, yes.
Yeah.
The first thing that struck me when I went upstairs was the overwhelming heat in all the rooms. Is it always this hot?
Yeah, in the winter, yes.
But the thing is that with dust mites, they really
love it.
thrive in the heat.
Yeah.
And because there's no ventilation and it is so hot.
So I'm giving them a really good breeding place then, aren't I?
And they've got their food from the skin cells that you shed anyway in bed. Plus in bed, you breathe out on your breath.
I don't want to know this.
You do. When you breathe out, there's lots of moisture on your breath. All of us, it's all the same. And you sweat a certain amount in bed, and together it's probably about half a litre a night. So that's why the bed's the perfect place, and that's why you need to ventilate and have airflow.
Fidget.
Maureen spends the rest of the day on a whistle-stop tour of the volunteers' homes. For an asthma nurse, it's not a pretty sight.
Oh my goodness, look at this room. A complete dust mite haven. Well, having looked at Khalida's bedroom, this is the area that we need to concentrate on. It's your bed and the carpet in your room. We need to have floorboards in there.
Hi. Hello, Joe. Why are you here?
I've come to have a look at the house and talk to your mum. It's just packed with stuff. There's just carpets and bits of rug.
She finds all the usual suspects.
This cat is everywhere in this house.
Even a basement full of damp and mould.
This is incredible. When I went down to the cellar, there was a strong smell of mould, and if possible, it needs to be shut off from the rest of the house.
I feel very sorry for them because they've also got this guilt thing. Parents always feel guilty if something that's going on in their homes or something that they've had control of and the children haven't has made a child's condition worse.
At the end of a long day, Maureen's final destination is Katie's house. Katie lives here in Stoke Newington, London, with her mum Kay, dad Pete and sister Alice. She uses her inhaler night and day. Her mum Kay has spent years trying to find a treatment for her asthma which doesn't rely on drugs.
We've spent quite a lot of money on Chinese medicine. Katie's been to see a homeopath.
We've tried loads of things like healing, homeopathic, but the homeopathic had a cat, so we started not going there anymore.
When your kid has allergies, I mean, you get advice from everyone. You get advice from friends, well-meaning. You get advice from people at the bus stop.
Oh my goodness me.
After years of searching, are Kay and Katie finally going to get some straight answers?
Katie's severely allergic to dust mites, and this is just a house of horrors as far as that's concerned.
Katie's house is the worst of the lot. Ironically, all that paraphernalia that makes for a cosy home is a magnet for the dust mite.
I didn't think it would be this bad. And all of these rugs everywhere, which, you know, are just full of dust. Sofas everywhere, blankets and cushions, massive cushions, toys, fabrics, books. Right, Kay and Pete, it's crunch time. In the playroom, there's rugs galore and blankets and lots of soft furnishings, which obviously little girls love, and it's all great fun.
So do the mites.
And so do the mites, exactly, yes. They like warmth and comfort and moisture.
Time for the next phase of the asthma experiment. Enter Toby Wilkinson, an expert in house dust mites.
Oh, hello, my name's Toby.
Toby will establish exactly how much dust mite allergen is present in each house using a scientifically adapted vacuum cleaner.
There are several things that make it difficult to sample mites. Firstly, the fact that they like kind of like dark, damp places, so they don't like being near the surface of things where they're exposed to things like a lot of light. Secondly, mites are very, very good at gripping onto things. So if you look at the end of their legs, they've got hooks, claws, suckers. And so unless you put the vacuum cleaner right next to them, it's very difficult to actually pull them off, say, the strand of carpet or from deep inside the mattress.
A square metre of each child's mattress and pillow, bedroom carpet, living room carpet, and their favourite cuddly toy are sampled for exactly 1 minute.
We managed to find significant numbers of allergens in all of the houses. We actually got the highest concentration in terms of micrograms of the allergen per gram of dust in things like pillows and soft toys.
After the houses have been cleaned up, Toby will take another set of samples to prove scientifically that the allergens have been successfully removed. Now, it's time to go on the attack. Maureen has written to each of the volunteers, giving them their battle orders.
Dear Simone and Joseph,
A few things you need to have done before your appointments with the cleaning and flooring people.
Jessie and Ellie must choose one soft toy each.
Torture! Any unnecessary clutter may...
Can I emphasise that? Any unnecessary clutter.
Ornaments, loose toiletry items, etc.
Bloody hell. Well, anything that's making my cleaning regime easier.
Best wishes, Maureen Jenkins. Right, so some of the things in the room that have got to be put in storage are all of the teddies and the cushions, and then all of these teddies and cushions as well, and this clothes rack, because that's collecting about 3 tons of dust. All of this. And we've got to get rid of all this stuff up here, because the black bags cause mould spores. There is tons of it. I think that's mostly all that we've got to get rid of.
Any non-essential household items that harbour allergens, like dust mite or mould, are boxed up and stored.
It is really hard because you don't think everyday things like clothes and blankets are going to be a health hazard.
For Helen, there's a small taste of what her son Dominic has been going through all these years.
My face is so itchy and my nose, oh Jesus Christ almighty.
Yeah, but the dust mites are eating your skin
I'll
away.
do what Dominic's doing all the time. It's got right up my nose.
While some families revel in a new minimalist look, others like Kay and Katie
Can I keep this material?
are struggling to make a clean sweep of things.
It's going to be hard to get rid of what's called unnecessary clutter. It's too small anyway. There's all my photos, books, bits and pieces that sort of make a home. Bin. By the end of all of this, our house is just going to look like one of those like storage solutions places, just full of boxes.
For the next 9 weeks, the kids will be restricted to just one cuddly toy, which will be hot washed regularly to kill dust mites.
The 2 I like best is these 2.
For 10-year-old girls, it's a burning issue. Which teddies get the chop?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. She's not big enough to cuddle. She just sleeps out the bed, so... Catch a tiger by its toe.
We can be here all day, you know.
If it squeals, let it go. I might keep her. Eeny, eeny, miny, mo. I'm not sure. Bye-bye. You're the weakest link. Okay.
For parents, the hardest thing is evicting their cats for the duration of the experiment.
Bye-bye, Puddy Tat.
7 out of the 10 children tested positive to cat allergen, one of the most potent and persistent found in the home.
I know, Jess, but you're going to go somewhere really, really nice.
A year after Dominic's dog was sent down for an asthma crime he didn't commit, the real culprit finally gets her comeuppance.
Oh, look, this is your new home. Oh, God, I feel really horrible now. Oh, I'm going to get upset now.
It was alright until I seen the little room.
I'm thinking if there's a dramatic change in Dominic, then we're going to have to think about getting rid of the cat. I don't know. I don't want to think about that for now.
After the break, it's makeover time.
Cocaine, we're going to solve your asthma problems.
We're going to solve your problems.
Ta-da!
And the families get their cleaning orders.
Does this mean you're going to do all the hoovering now?
Don't push it up.
After inspecting the homes of our 10 asthmatic kids
This is just a house of horrors.
and getting rid of clutter, cats and cuddly toys,
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Yeah, then we can sleep.
the next step in Nurse Maureen's anti-asthma attack is an assault on old flooring.
I don't want to touch it. Yeah, it's all soft, isn't it?
Carpets are the perfect haven for dust, dust mites, and most importantly, the dust mite droppings that trigger the kids' asthma.
Cocaine, we're going to solve your asthma problems.
We're going to solve your problems.
For this experiment, it's goodbye carpets and hello laminate flooring.
Would you like a cup of tea?
They have muffed my room up completely, yeah? And the only good part about it, yeah, is it's helping me.
Installing these laminate floors means the dreaded dust mites will have nowhere to hide and nowhere to breed.
That's nice.
You like it?
Yeah, it's really
Good.
nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought you'd be finished by now, though.
Yeah, all right.
I hope it's going to help Dominic. I mean, I should imagine it will do, because I'll be able to see all the dust everywhere, so I'll be able to clean it better.
Excellent start.
All the floor is laid, laminated. It's lovely. They've done it really well. It's wonderful because not many people get this opportunity to have wooden floors laid. Most people just have carpet.
10-year-old Jessie has been ill since she was 4, and her mum Kelly longs for a life without asthma.
Obviously, the carpets and everything made Jessie quite wheezy. Just hoping that all this helps her. We're hoping that doing this going to help her get a good night's sleep, hopefully be less wheezy around the house.
The next step in the anti-asthma makeover is the ultimate spring clean. A team of professional cleaners are here to remove every trace of allergen from the bedrooms and communal areas of each house. Maureen's come along to make sure the highest standards are met.
You've really got her work cut out cleaning this lot up.
Years of built-up dust and grime are swept away. But for the pet owners who have said goodbye to their cats, dusting is simply not enough. Cat allergen can linger for 2 years or more, so no surface can be left untouched. The final act is to heat treat every soft furnishing in sight. Vacuuming alone won't get rid of every last dust mite and allergen. The little pests need to be steamed to death.
Well, it's really lovely to have the place cleaned up, and it's probably the cleanest it's ever been since we've moved in. But it's going to be hard work keeping the house this clean on my own.
But the way it is now is the way it has to stay.
Toby Wilkinson returns to all the family homes to conduct a second batch of tests. He is going to scientifically establish if the cleaners have done their job.
From the results we've analysed so far, it does seem like the clean-up's been quite successful. We haven't found a single mite. Also, crucially, the quantities of dust that are actually in the samples are much, much lower and contain significantly less quantities of allergen.
With the houses as clean as can be, it's now all up to the parents and children. They've come for an intensive seminar in allergen avoidance.
Good morning, children.
Good morning, Dr. Gavin.
Fantastic. Good morning, mums and dads. Welcome to what I hope is going to be a really exciting and important time in your lives. I think we can help you by allergen avoidance. Okay, Maureen, it's your turn.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to tell you the things that you children have got to do for yourselves every single day to try and avoid the dust mite, and consequently its poo.
Previous allergen reduction trials have often foundered because of lack of education. But instructing the volunteers about their ongoing household regime is at the heart of this experiment. Now these kids are going to learn some basic housework. Maureen has designed a daily routine.
Every morning, the first thing I want you to do is pull back the duvet and put it over a chair.
Each of the measures is designed to deprive dust mites of their preferred living environment.
You've also got to keep the window open a little bit. Dust mites don't like dry air. And then wear pyjamas only in the bedroom. You don't want the dust mite to come onto your pyjamas and take it back into your bed.
To keep track of their tasks, the kids are given a board to fill in.
You've put your toys away. You've taken your pyjamas off before you've gone into the rest of the house.
For the parents, reducing the airborne allergens in their homes means a rigorous timetable of vacuuming.
You take all the cushions off and you vacuum the base all over.
Dusting.
So you need to move all the ornaments and dust everything.
And washing.
Then every week you'll take off all the bed linen and you will wash those together with the child's pyjamas or nightdress at 60 degrees centigrade.
For their kids to stand any chance of improvement, the families must follow Maureen's rules to the letter.
I just want to say, and I can't say it enough, one thing doesn't work. It's got to be everything. We can't be there every day watching you, so you have got to make sure that you're doing your utmost to make it work.
But fitting this extra workload into their already busy schedules is going to be a challenge to these already overworked mums.
Putting the mattress cover is what I'm concerned with. How am I going to
have to do the sheets washing every Sunday. That's the only way I'm going to get around that.
Well, I'll just have to help my mum dust and do some hoovering sometimes.
Getting the hoover on top of that bunk bed, I'm just wondering how I'm going to do that.
It's a big thing to get rid of the cats for him. I think the stress alone would cause him frightful asthma.
It's part of his problem. But, you know, the decision, of course, is always yours and his.
Everyone is given an Asthma Busting Kit Bag to take home with them.
Good luck soon. Bye, Jessie. Nice to see you.
In it is a specialist vacuum cleaner,
Ta-da!
capable of filtering and trapping microscopic mite droppings.
Does this mean you're going to do all the hoovering now?
Don't push your luck.
Bilal's a dust mite buster.
Then there's another anti-mite protection measure. Microporous barrier covers for the kids' mattresses, duvets and pillows, and through which no mite or its droppings shall pass.
Now that we've got everything new, we don't want no more dust mites.
But after the initial excitement, the scale of the task ahead is already dawning on the parents.
Now we've got to stick to a regime, it's quite hard. I've got to rush to work and the children have to rush off to school. And it's quite hard trying to get back and fit everything in before Jess comes back into the house, but if it's got to be done, it's got to be done.
I was a bit daunted, the fact that it has to be done every day. Obviously, if you've got family, to do it every single day is a bit like, oh my gosh, you know. It's not going to be easy, but I'll give it my best shot.
It's going to be hard and it's going to be tough. Only time will tell how well we've done.
It's hard work, but it's not, you know, it's harder work to be sat in that casualty worried, sick about your child.
And Nurse Maureen's not feeling too confident either.
This experiment involves so much daily work, constant work, tasks to do every week as well and twice a week. And I really fear that they're not going to take it seriously enough to do it properly. I'm not optimistic, I've got to tell you, I'm not optimistic.
It's really nice, it feels comfortable. It is relaxing, actually.
So, will allergen avoidance succeed? For Dominic, like most of the kids, the acid test is something most of us take for granted.
Nice one, nice good night's sleep.
Good night, Dominic.
Eight hours later, what's the verdict?
When I woke up this morning, it felt like I was in a chamber that had no bacteria or anything in it.
My first night of my new covers, I had a much more relaxing sleep, and through the night I wasn't coughing or sneezing, or I didn't have a runny nose when I woke up.
Last night my inhaler was on my jacket and I did not use it for the whole night.
I'm absolutely astounded, flabbergasted. He had not used his inhaler once. As God is my witness, he hasn't used it once.
Usually you expect stuff to at least to work like in a week or 2 or 3 days, but it's worked like that.
I feel really energetic because I've had a good night's sleep and I haven't had to use my inhaler during the night. So I think the experiment's doing quite well.
After just one night, all 10 kids report significant improvements to their breathing and sleep. It's a promising start. But stretching ahead are 9 grueling weeks of hoovering, dusting and ventilating. Can the families keep up the good work?
You haven't got your duvet over the chair, because that's the first thing you're supposed to do.
Next time in How to Beat Your Kids' Asthma, Nurse Maureen confronts the backsliders.
Rakeem's got a chronic disease and you wanted help for it.
I just feel that you're down on me and I don't really appreciate it.
Neither of you are taking this seriously. I mean, when we had this meeting with Dr. Scadding...
seriously, but don't forget, I've got 3 kids, I'm working day and night. When I'm coming home at 11 o'clock at night, and
I know.
I'm asleep in my bed, no, I'm not going to move them.
But it's going to make her worse.
Well, I'm sorry, but for the next couple of days...
Britain is in the grip of an asthma epidemic. It affects over 1 million children and 1,500 people die from it every year.
The fear is that she might not survive.
Once he said to me, Mum, I feel cursed by this thing.
I've actually said to myself, I've got a disabled child here.
80% of asthma is triggered by allergies. But if your child has the condition, consider moving to Lithuania. And like in Britain, allergies are a priority there, and they have 1/10 of our rate of asthma. Tonight on Dispatches, part 2 of a simple but ingenious medical experiment that could save the NHS millions of pounds and help asthmatics all over Britain.
I just don't want to have asthma anymore.
Ten asthmatic kids volunteered to be guinea pigs in a unique medical experiment.
No, hard.
It's called Allergen Avoidance, and it's simple.
Hard, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Overseeing the experiment is Dr. Glenys Scadding.
As well as treating asthma with drugs, I'm a firm believer in finding out the major triggers for each child's asthma and trying to eliminate them from their environment.
Stage 1 of the experiment was a skin prick test to identify what the kids are allergic to.
You can hold Mummy's hand while I do this if you want to. All right, Dominic. That's that one hurt. It's done.
All the kids reacted to a range of common airborne allergens.
You can see you have got lots of positives here. So you've come up, this is the house dust mite ones.
Oh my
Beauty.
gosh.
You've also come up to house dust, to 2 kinds of mould, to grass pollen, and then this one, I'm afraid, is cat.
Stage 2. Each child's bedroom had a complete makeover. To reduce exposure to the allergens that triggered their asthma, he ripped up carpets, laid down hard floorings,
They have muffed my room up completely, yeah?
and evicted the family pets.
Why puddy tats?
And stage 3 was education. The children learned how to keep their rooms allergen-free.
That it says every morning, the first thing I want you to do is pull back the duvet and put it over a chair.
While their parents were given a relentless regime of hoovering,
Take all the cushions off and you vacuum the base all over.
dusting and laundry.
Then every week you will wash those at 60 degrees centigrade.
But can such simple measures really benefit their children's health? Watch this space. It's been almost a month since the Asthma Allergen Avoidance experiment began, and most of our families have been hard at it.
I've been hoovering, cleaning up the house, dusting.
Dusting is the most thankless task in the world.
I feel like I've been held to ransom with the cleaning.
But the hard work is paying dividends. Meet 10-year-old Dominic. He lives in Waltham Cross with his mum Helen.
The biggest change I've noticed is Dominic is not itching his nose, coughing and splattering in the morning.
Like this. Mum!
Before the experiment started, Dominic recorded a typical morning.
Shall I video all of it? With my nose and all that? If you look at my eye... Oh.
Like most asthmatics, Dominic also suffers from rhinitis, a permanently runny, itchy nose. It's triggered by the same allergens that irritate the lungs.
That's what I'm like most mornings. And it feels really horrible. My nose is blocked, itching. My eyes are hurting. They're proper itching and all that. Oh, my chest's getting a bit... Ooh. It's getting a bit heavy to breathe.
But since they've been practicing allergen avoidance, his symptoms have improved.
I have not been sneezing because there's no dust here. It's a dust-free zone.
Every morning, Dominic measures his lung capacity or peak flow. After tidying his room, he airs his duvet. But while Dominic's religiously performing his duties, his mum is letting standards slip.
This is my mum's daily routine board. That's the weekly routine. On the daily routine, she's done vacuum child's bedroom only 3 times this week. She's dusted the blinds in the child's bedroom with static duster 3 times this week. Vacuum all carpets and rugs 1 time. My mum hasn't been doing hardly any of that, and I've been working my butt off all week doing all mine. I have to have words.
It's not a hard regime, but in all fairness, I don't think it's practical for some of it to be done every day.
Enter asthma nurse Maureen Jenkins. She's the experiment's enforcer. It's her job to keep the families up to scratch.
There's so many things that I've told them to do that I just worry that they might think, well, if we do some of them, it'll be okay. But it's essential that they do everything. It's all down to them, and I don't know if they're up to it.
First on Maureen's list is 10-year-old Rakeem and his mum Vanessa.
Yeah, give me 5.
She's delighted with his progress.
I took him swimming with the boys last night, and just to see his face, the joy in his face and the laughter, and he didn't stop once, and he He was swimming for nearly 2 hours. He didn't ask for the inhaler once. I think it was just great.
Before the experiment, Rakeem was taking around 100 puffs of his inhaler a week. That's double the recommended maximum safe dose.
I want Rakeem to be like dependent for the rest of his days on inhalers is just too much.
But despite Rakeem's improvement, the daily grind of cleaning is getting Vanessa down.
At the beginning, I thought, great, get the hoover out, get the duster out, and all that. But some days I just like, oh, God, I've got to do it. Oh.
Hello, Rakeem. How are you?
Fine, how about you?
Good, thank you. How's your asthma been?
It's been alright.
Have you been keeping your record charts okay?
Yeah, but I've missed a couple of days, I think.
Rakeem's failed to record his peak flow measurements this week, and last week's entries indicated that his improvement has stalled. Maureen wants to know why.
Oh, there's an awful lot of clutter around, isn't there? It just looks a bit cluttered. Maybe it's because you haven't put your duvet over the chair, because that's the first thing you're supposed to do in the morning, isn't it?
I woke up late.
You woke up late. You see, there's all these excuses, aren't there? You're not taking it seriously, are you?
Another of the kids' daily tasks is to tidy away toys and games to reduce clutter.
All of this stuff here, how does your mum manage to clean all this? With all of this all over the top. I think it might be easier for her to clean it more regularly if you kept it a bit tidier, wouldn't it? Look. You can see it hasn't been moved, it hasn't been dusted, there's dust all over the place.
Rakeem's mum is in for it now.
Now, where's your board, Vanessa?
Here. I have been completing some tasks.
Right.
And I've not completed some. When I come home, I'm tired sometimes, and I can't do it. Sometimes it's just tired. I'm tired. I can't be hoovering every day, and I know you don't like it, and I can see in your face that you want to kill me, but I'm just telling the truth. I'm just being honest because I'm tired. I'm sorry. I can't.
Why did you choose to come into the experiment?
I choose to come into the experiment because of Rakeem's health.
Rakeem's got a chronic health problem and you wanted help for it.
I'm not saying that I'm not bothered to do the experiment. I'm just saying some of the tasks every day is a bit hard.
It is hard.
I just feel that you're down on me and I don't really appreciate it.
If I said never mind, it doesn't matter, then you wouldn't bother at all. The thing is, when you improve, it's so easy to be complacent. Think, great, we've cracked it. You haven't, because he's going to slip back. If you don't keep this up, he is going to slip back and he's going to get symptoms and you're going to get bad again.
Bye. Sometimes my mum slacks off and doesn't do a task because when she comes back from work, she's tired and she just wants to relax, so she says they'll do it tomorrow, and then that doesn't happen.
I'll just get back on track, hope for the best. Rakeem's doing so well at the moment. If he was to lapse back, I'll never forgive myself.
I find that a lot of people don't realise that all the efforts have to be maintained. There's an awful lot of things that are not within their power outside of the home, but at least if they can maintain their home environment, they're not so liable to react so quickly to other things.
It's 6 weeks into the experiment and most of the kids are keeping their parents up to scratch.
You ever done this?
It does take time, but, I'm getting used to it.
And many of the children are getting better. Meet 9-year-old Hafsa and her 11-year-old brother Bilal. They're doing everything right.
Drape your duvet over a hard chair. Leave bedroom windows slightly open at night.
They help me when I need help, and I'll help them when they need help. We've discussed this core in one of our family meetings, and we all agreed on it, basically.
To be honest, my brother doesn't do anything. I have to do it for him.
Now that's a lie. A very good lie, Hafsa.
Before the experiment began, Bilal's asthma was so bad that even cycling could leave him struggling to breathe.
It's really, really sad. He can be okay one moment, and he can be in a critical situation the next.
For Hafsa, running upstairs often triggered an attack.
Sometimes it's like when I'm breathing, it goes too deep and too deep over, and there's a block of water. This is it.
But that's all changed.
Before the experiment started, I kept on coughing because of the carpet, because there was more dust mites, and now I feel much better. I ain't coughing, and I don't need to have my inhaler this much.
We're not bombarded with, tasks. It's tasks we would have done anyway, but we're just doing it more on a regular basis. I didn't realise the impact that would have, basic, dusting and hoovering. It's brilliant so far.
Other families are doing equally well. 10-year-old Katie lives in Stoke Newington, London with her mum, dad and little sister. Katie's been doing all her tasks. Well, almost.
I've been doing quite good with my cleaning. I think the only thing that I've not really been doing is tidying up the playroom as well. Because I've been doing everything in my bedroom, I just skipped to the playroom as well.
In the past, Katie rarely slept all night and was frequently hospitalised. But that's improved.
It doesn't feel as if I've got an ill child anymore. She's only had, in the last 2 weeks, 2 nights, really, where she's needed a puffer.
Is Ira coming down today?
Yeah.
At the moment I feel quite good. I usually have to take my inhaler around 4 or 5 times a day. Around now I'm using it about twice a day.
It definitely works, but it's still early days.
The family is taking allergen avoidance extremely seriously.
Ira, Katie.
Katie's best friend Ira has 2 cats at home. But now they know Katie's highly allergic to cat hair, Ira changes her clothes whenever she comes to play, so she doesn't contaminate the house.
Ira, are you ready? Ta-da! You look funny. You look okay, actually.
Ira's noticed how much her friend has improved.
She's got quite a bit better than she used to be. She used to get really, quite upset about, well, quite a bit. About what? About your asthma and allergies and stuff.
Ira used to worry whenever Katie had an attack.
It's a bit scary because I don't want my best friend to be really ill. You know what you mean? Yeah. To die. Yeah, to die. And so it's a bit worrying.
After the break, Maureen's on the warpath.
To me, this room still looks like an impossible heap of clutter.
Jessie has a relapse.
She's had some sort of allergic reaction. Her face is swollen, she's really wheezing.
And Roxy's in the doghouse.
Rox, don't do that!
It's midway into the asthma allergen avoidance experiment, and help is on hand for our hard-working mums. A team of boffins is going to wage scientific warfare against public enemy number 1, the house dust mite. 85% of asthmatics are allergic to mite's droppings. They thrive in warm, humid homes, feeding on the flakes of dead skin and absorbing moisture from the atmosphere.
House dust mites can't actually physically drink water,
and so therefore they have to really rely on high levels of relative humidity in order to survive.
First, the scientists must analyse the environmental conditions in our guinea pigs' homes. A giant fan blows air into the house to test the ventilation.
The harder that fan has to work, the leakier the home, and that gives us an indication of how good or bad that home is at providing fresh air.
Thermal imaging cameras identify cold and hot spots.
See, now you can see air leakage around the Windows frame.
Gizmos measure temperature and humidity variations throughout the day. And all the data is downloaded for analysis.
We can do a great deal within the home, how we use the home, how we produce moisture in the home, how we ventilate the home, how we heat the home. And by changing the environmental conditions, we can stop the mites from being a problem in the first place.
Oh, sorry. Hey, you guys, what are you doing next?
At the end of all this, we will be able to give advice to your mummy on ways to reduce dust mites. And then hopefully Jessie feels better. Yeah? Would you like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Nurse Maureen is on her rounds to ensure that everything's tickety-boo.
Oh, this room looks so different. Do you actually put the mites on the board when you do the task? Have you actually woken up because you're tight-chested?
No.
Or short of breath?
No.
She's been doing a really good record, actually, because she has written down everything, and that's exactly what we want.
Next up, Dominic and his mum. They've just returned from a safari holiday in Kenya.
Dominic, how was your holiday?
It's brilliant.
Was it?
Yep, my asthma was brilliant as well. It was like a holiday for my asthma.
Well, I really would expect it to be good there because it's so hot and dry there.
Yeah.
Certainly there's no dust mites there, that's for sure. What about since you've been back?
It's been okay since I got back.
You haven't been back too long yet, so...
No, but I've still been, like, my nose started itching again.
Has it?
Yeah.
When he came home, and obviously this house hasn't been dusted for 2 weeks, he was sneezing in his bedroom.
Did that tell you that you had to keep on with your regime that you were doing before?
Yeah.
It's very easy to slip back.
Is it?
And you've already noticed that you've got symptoms again since you come back.
Once we finish this, do we still have to do this?
I think that you have to remember, you've had this for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's better, but it's only better because of this massive input and the massive change and all the things that you both had to do.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep doing it, because the minute you stop, all the dust mites are moved back in.
The change in Dominic is extraordinary. When Maureen first visited, he couldn't stop scratching and fidgeting.
No, you're just less fidgety.
Yeah, I'm not like... like that.
Okay, well, quick demonstration.
Next on Maureen's hit list is 10-year-old Katie.
This is my board. I've been doing nearly all my things.
She thinks her mum is backsliding.
This is my mum's board, and as you can see, she hasn't really been doing it that much.
It's not surprising. Kay works full-time, and her huge Victorian house is a cleaner's nightmare.
The idea that dust could be such a menace to my children, it's unbelievable, really.
But despite Kay devoting every spare moment to housework, last week Katie had a relapse.
It's in the middle of the night and I'm feeling a bit wheezy.
I really hate it now when Katie's up in the night. This last week when her asthma has returned, I really hated it.
Katie's setback is making Kay so demoralised, she's questioning the entire experiment.
Yeah, housework is just so boring. It's really boring, it's really tiring. And I'll do it if I know it's getting me somewhere. But if I feel as a lot of what I'm doing, it's sort of like pissing in the wind. I don't know what the correct expression. It's sort of like a lot of it just seems pointless.
Hello, Pete. How are you?
So can Maureen get Katie and her mum back on track?
Yes.
While Katie's bedroom is now virtually allergen-free, the playroom remains a health hazard.
To me, this room still looks like an impossible heap of clutter. You've still got 3 sofas, and all of the sofas are just massive reservoirs of dust mites, particularly this one. I mean, it is huge. I mean, I just wonder whether they really actually need all these sofas anyway.
No, I mean,
Most people don't even have a playroom, so do they really need all these sofas?
Do you?
Well, whether she thinks she does or not, it's not doing her any good, is it?
I know, we are. We're going to.
It just seems an awful waste of your initial efforts. Well, the problem is that they have far too much furniture, far too much upholstery, and they're reluctant to get rid of it. Oh, I don't know. It's just what's most important, the child's health or this old upholstery?
Next up is 11-year-old Jessie. She lives in Islington with her brother, sister and mum Kelly. Like lots of asthmatic kids, she's small for her age and can't play active games.
It stops me from fitting in with people, like in my class. They make you feel quite bad, because they don't know what it's like having asthma.
She went to a school where she was really bullied over it, and I had to take her out of there because they was like calling her asthma red.
Look at this room, a complete dust mite haven.
Jessie's bedroom used to be a mess.
I couldn't contemplate cleaning this room regularly.
But decluttering and the makeover had a huge impact.
It is a big change because I would always wake up about 3 times in the night, but I don't wake up in the night anymore. When I wake up in the mornings, I don't have a runny nose, or I don't sneeze or cough.
But the improvement won't last unless Jessie keeps up with her daily tasks.
Why, when we came in, were these covers not put over a chair? Because you've put a mite on there, and you haven't done it, have you? You don't put any mites on until you've done it. And how often do you really do it?
I did
really,
do it
honestly.
yesterday and all that, but I didn't. I meant to do it today, but late, so I never got to.
Because you were late. Okay, so if you're late, things get forgotten. Right. Where's your box with the mites?
It's clear to Maureen that Jessie's been slacking. But what about her mum?
Where are they, Jess?
I don't know, Mum. I don't
Where
know.
did you have them last?
I can't remember. I had it all over the place.
They was over there last time.
Recently, Kelly has been working double shifts. Maureen suspects she's taken her eye off the ball.
Last time she had them, they was over here.
I think basically you are going to have to take a little bit more responsibility for monitoring what she does, because the duvet wasn't off the bed.
No, she didn't sleep in here last night.
I slept downstairs with my mum last night.
For Maureen, allowing Jessie to sleep in a bedroom which has not been kept allergen-free is a cardinal sin.
You see, neither of you are taking this seriously. I mean, when we had this meeting with
We
Dr.
are taking it
Scaddy,
seriously, but don't forget, I've got 3 kids. I'm working day and night. When I'm coming home at 11 o'clock at night, and
I
they
know.
fall asleep in my bed, no, I'm not going to move them.
but it's going to make her worse.
Well, I'm sorry, but for the next couple of days, whatever happens, happens, until I finish work and get back into the routine. Because if I don't work, we don't have nice things and don't have money, so it's a case of me having to work, isn't it?
How's it going to benefit her if she's not sleeping in a room that's clean? If
Yeah,
she's
I know.
sleeping in a room which is a dust mite nightmare.
Yeah,
and
no,
you've
last night
agreed.
she fell asleep in my bed. It's one of those things.
Maureen insists on inspecting Kelly's bedroom.
And you have got a wooden floor, so that's one positive thing. But the rest of the room is a nightmare, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, every square inch is covered with clutter. This is full of dust mites. This is full of dust mites. Yeah. This is full of dust mites. All of those pillows are full of dust mites. This is full of dust mites, even though it's a net and you can see through it. The reason it really worries me, Kelly, is because Jessie spends time in here, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And that's just going to undo a lot of the hard work and the good that the two of you are doing with the rest of the house.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine for anybody that doesn't have an allergy.
I do try and keep her out of here, but she doesn't listen. So maybe if you...
perhaps I'll have a word with her, yes, yeah.
From now on, Kelly's bedroom is strictly out of bounds.
It should have a notice on the door. Danger, keep out, yes?
Back in Stoke Newington, Katie's mum and dad are ringing the changes.
Watch your knuckles. Oh my God.
Two of the family's old mite-infested sofas are getting the push.
Actually, no, I'm not sure that's the best way.
The improvements that I've seen in Katie's room have made me really rethink our whole way of living in this house, really.
Bye-bye. What do you think?
Looks so empty. Looks empty now.
See, everything we do it for you.
The constant cleaning has forced Kay to abandon her liberal principles.
I'm going to get cleaner as well. I don't feel very comfortable, but I think for the improvement in Katie's health, somebody coming in once a week, it'd be worth it.
A cleaner could help, but so will a few other changes. It's time for Dr. Pretlove's report on how to persuade dust mites to move house.
So as far as our advice is concerned in this home, it's all about minimising the amount of moisture. And there are two ways that you can do that. The first is to change the temperatures, increase them.
Upping the thermostat by a couple of degrees can decrease humidity by up to 10%.
And the second is also to think about how you're producing moisture in the home.
Putting lids on saucepans reduces humidity. So does keeping bathroom windows open and doors shut. And that's not all. Every load of washing contains 2.5 litres of water, so it helps to dry clothes either outdoors or in a ventilated room closed off from the rest of the house.
By changing the environmental conditions, you stop the mites from growing in the first place, and then you will, if there are no mites there will be no allergens which trigger attacks.
It's the final week of the experiment, and back in Islington, Jessie's been obeying all the rules.
Since Maureen came round and I got a bit of a telling off, I've started to take the cleaning more seriously and starting to put magnets on the board and trying to do my best.
And Jessie's mum has been working hard too.
After Maureen's visit, I just realised that the room was just so full of junk and clutter that something had to be done about it. So, decorated the whole room, got a new bed, got rid of all the junk, and everything's in boxes. Jessie slept in here last night and she was absolutely fine this morning.
But a couple of days later, Jessie suffers a major setback. It's happened before.
Right, Jessie slept in my bed last night. She's had some sort of allergic reaction. Her face is swollen. She's really wheezing. Her face is really red and blotchy, so are her arms and legs. So her arms. She's absolutely smothered. Okay. Your nose really running?
Yeah.
The house dust mites might be under control, but Jessie's allergies are definitely not. Her original skin prick tests revealed the scale of her problem.
We've got some very nice tests here. House dust mite, a little bit to cat, quite a lot to 2 kinds of tree pollen, and quite a lot to dog. Avoiding one allergen usually doesn't work. So you need an integrated approach, avoiding, for example, not only the dust mites, but also the family pet may need to have some provision made for it.
Jessie's mum got rid of Louie, their cat. But she couldn't bring herself to say goodbye to the family dog.
This is Jessie with Roxy. Obviously Roxy can make Jessie a bit wheezy sometimes, but as you can see, they adore each other.
To reduce the effect on Jessie, Dr. Scadding advised Kelly to keep Roxy out of the bedrooms and bath her twice a week.
Come in.
Rox, don't do that. I think washing Roxy does help. I still get a bit of a rash when I play with her a lot.
Rox, get time!
Roxy has a mind of her own.
Come here, this way.
Getting her to keep out of the bedrooms isn't easy.
Rox.
And Jessie blames Roxy for her allergic reaction.
I fell asleep in Mummy's bed last night. And the gate wasn't on the door, so Roxy might have been in. And she might have been laying on the bed. The gate wasn't on the bed when I woke up.
The dog wasn't in here last night. We had something against the door and she sat in here all night watching telly and the dog wasn't near her. She was fine last night. And then I didn't even see, like, she didn't look red when she woke up.
Jessie might be fond of Roxy, but she knows what's good for her.
My uncle, Dean, he wants to take Roxy and he wants to take her and let her live with him. But my mum's saying no. But maybe it would be a good idea if she did.
After the break, a joyful reunion.
Goody Tat! Carrie came home, isn't it great?
Dust mites exposed.
And this is what's under the carpet. Dust mite city.
And the answer to the big question, does allergen avoidance really work?
Big breath. And again.
It's the final day of the asthma experiment, and the children are back at the Royal National Throat, Nose and Ear Hospital. So has the allergen avoidance worked and the children's asthma improved?
If you take a big breath in and blow into there, good boy.
First they see the nurse for some final readings.
Blow out for me, good girl. That's it, keep it going, keep it going. Stop there, that's brilliant.
And then another medical with Dr. Scadding. Hafsa is first in line.
Welcome back. Thank you. Right.
She and her mum have followed the regime to the letter.
The first difference is her nights. She's sleeping better than before. Secondly, she's more confident in running around, going upstairs, downstairs.
Mostly I go down and up the stairs and I don't need to have my puff.
Right. Now that's a change, isn't it? Good.
And I love running.
You love running.
This is serious!
Before the experiment, Hafsa couldn't run upstairs and used her inhaler so often it worried her mum.
If there's anything that I would like changed, that would be the reliance on the medication.
I'm going to show you where my puffers are.
To be on the safe side,
In my room.
she kept puffers all over the house.
This is where we put the asthma pump in here, and now I'm just going to quickly show you where the kitchen one is.
Now she barely needs them.
And I'm going to listen to your chest. Would that be all right? Good girl. Big breath in. And again. That's fantastic. Now, I want you to take a breath in and go, blow as hard as you can. And again. Super. When I first examined Hafsa, she had a wheezy chest, so lots of little wheezes. Now she hasn't got a wheeze at all. Even when she blows hard, there's no wheeze.
And there's one final piece of good news. Some objective scientific evidence that proves Hafsa is better.
Okay. Oh, running out of steam.
The change is extraordinary.
Deep breath.
Today, 8 out of the 10 kids have peak flows either reaching or exceeding the average.
350.
Hafsa's improvement has been dramatic.
260. 260? Oh, that's very good, because you were blowing 170 the last time, so that is a big improvement.
I'm really pleased with you, and especially pleased with your mum, who's done a lot of hard work. That is just phenomenal. She had her life stolen by allergy. She couldn't go out to play, she had to think about whether she could go upstairs or not. When she went upstairs, she had to sit down and get her breath back. She just had to plan her life in a way no child should have to do.
The way I see it now is the future is very much bright and it will get better. I mean, this is just 9 weeks on now. I'm still looking at the next 9 weeks. It's going to be even better than now.
She's a normal child now. And it's not much of a price to have to pay to get your life back. A bit of house cleaning. Well worth it, I'd say. Well done. Nice to see you.
Rakeem is next. After a good start, he reached a plateau. His mum Vanessa works part-time and struggled to keep up with the cleaning regime.
Okay, first of all, how long did you keep it up really well for?
Like the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I kind of lost momentum after that.
Okay.
That's it.
Do it.
Before the experiment, Rakeem's asthma was so bad he was regularly hospitalised and put on a nebulizer.
It's difficult to breathe because your chest feels like clogged up with like gunk.
Rakeem's asthma is triggered by a whole range of allergens, including cat hair. But yesterday, Carrie came home.
Carrie, hello. I know, Carrie. You're home now. Puddy tat. Carrie came home. Isn't it great? So I'm having a drink to celebrate. Oh my God, it's like she's never left. Sneezed already, you know. Is it starting?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
It isn't.
Okay, we'll take your word for it.
In such a tiny flat, it's hard to keep her out of Rakeem's bedroom.
Carrie! Out! Out!
Big breath. Always a little bit of wheezing. And again. All right. Rakeem has got wheezes in there. And I think what I'm noticing with Rakeem is this.
Yeah.
What I call rabbiting the nose, which is doing beautifully, which means his nose is itchy. Now,
Okay.
that could be the cat. I think what you should do is monitor what happens.
Okay.
It's a real shame because Rakeem was obviously helped by this approach and now he's beginning to slip back. It makes me feel very frustrated that they could help themselves so much more but they haven't got the time or the energy or the will to do it. Here we go.
Like Rakeem, Jessie is severely asthmatic and reacted to every allergen she was tested for. But even so, she has improved quite a bit.
Jessie's sleeping all night. In the morning, she's full of life. It's not a struggle for her to get out of bed. She's got colour in her face.
This device measures sleep patterns. All the children wore one both before and during the experiment to see how often they woke up. All improved, especially Jessie.
In the mornings, I feel like I've got more energy and I'm more awake because I'm sleeping straight through.
Fantastic.
And I'm not as moany and daydreamy anymore.
Jessie and her mum work really hard, and she's as well as can be expected given the severity of her allergies and the fact that Roxy's still at home.
I'm going to stick to the cleaning in my bedroom and everything. I'm washing the dog.
It has made such a big difference to Jessie's life, so, you know, we just can't let it go to waste. We're just going to keep up with it.
And when I'm older, hopefully I might not have asthma. And I'll be pleased if I don't.
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you.
Next up is Katie.
Come on in. Tell me what's happened to you since I last saw you.
Well, my asthma's got a bit better.
Good. What do you notice?
That my nose isn't always blocked up.
It sounds a little bit blocked today.
Yeah, I've got a huge apology because yesterday what I did is I took up all the whole carpet. Katie had a bad night last night, so I don't know, I feel such an idiot.
Until yesterday, Katie had been doing really well. Even her teacher at school noticed the difference.
Over the last few weeks, she's been much more lively, much more alert, putting her hand up, more willing to explain her answers. She's still not very loud, but she's much more assertive than she used to be, and seems a lot happier as well.
Now an allergen avoidance zealot, Kay ripped up all the remaining carpets in the house.
And this is what's under the carpet. That must be Dust Mite City.
As a result, Katie has had an allergic reaction.
Big breath in. Okay, and out. Good, all right. Sit yourself down, sweetheart. I think what's happened, Mum is absolutely right, that the carpet has made you a lot worse coming up, because we've got levels of inflammation in your nose, which are quite high, and in your chest. Don't feel guilty. Your intentions were very good.
Sabotage the whole thing.
You've demonstrated very nicely that Katie is extremely house dust mite allergic.
Yeah.
And now the carpet's gone.
Yeah, the carpet's gone.
Her future looks brighter. Yeah. Katie, what are you taking for your asthma now?
My blue inhaler.
How many times are you taking it every day now, roughly?
Twice.
When I saw you before, how many times were you taking your blue one?
4 or 5.
So that's a lot less, isn't it? Excellent.
Katie's not alone. In the fortnight before the experiment began, the amount of reliever inhaler each child used was monitored. Again, the change is huge. Overall, the children's drug use has gone down by more than 75%. Dominic has virtually stopped using his puffer.
Nice to see you. Come on in.
He's used his inhaler once in 5 weeks.
Wow.
And he's just, it's like he hasn't got asthma anymore.
In the past, every morning Dominic woke up with a bunged up nose and a chest full of phlegm.
My mum says that I sound like a man that has every day of his life smoked 40 fags a day.
Not anymore. Now he's a normal, active 10-year-old boy.
Well done, Sunshine. How's that? His nose is a whole heap better. Tell me about football. Has your ability to play changed?
Yeah, I can play for longer without using my inhaler now.
That's good. What position do you play?
We don't really do position, I just run everywhere.
Because often children with asthma end up playing the goalie.
I don't never go and goal when I play football.
Yeah, now. But before you always used to play goalie.
Yeah. I know.
And I used to think he was being lazy, but it's obvious it was his asthma.
Yeah.
The experiment has been a resounding success.
Big breath and out. That's smashing. Her chest is clear, even when she does a big blow, there's absolutely no wheezing. Well, I think we could drive a bus up your nose now. The airway is so much better. That's a big improvement. And again. Perfect.
For Maureen Jenkins and Glenys Scadding, the results speak for themselves.
If you look at the children whose families have taken this project really seriously, the results have been fantastic. The difference it's made to their lives is mind-blowing.
It's not rocket science. It can be quite simple to work out what's triggering asthma. And by eliminating the causes, one can have much happier, healthier children on less medication.
On average, our allergen avoidance experiment cost just £700 per child. The NHS spends a whopping £1 billion a year on asthma. So could this method save the health service money and improve children's lives?
If we can keep patients out of hospital by spending a few £100s on allergen avoidance at home, then it is crazy not to undertake this. It is a safe, simple, cheap technique which can be extremely helpful.
For the last 20 years, allergen avoidance has been sidelined by the medical establishment. But our guinea pigs think it should be centre stage.
I wasn't expecting there to be such a big improvement, but I mean, literally his symptoms have vanished, haven't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm amazed at what you can do to actually help your child. It doesn't involve, sort of dangerous chemicals, medicines or whatever.
I'm surprised it wasn't ever given, we weren't given this opportunity before.
I'm shocked that, this information, never been told this before, the information's not widely available.